白水都江堰，问道青城山。
魅力木雕之都，精品木艺之城，浙江东阳，中国木雕城。
简单一点，轻松一点，快乐一点。点一下，乐自有我。乐风乐自有我。联想 Lenovo。
东北亚交通枢纽，东北出海新通道，中国丹东港。
尊崇第2排，新一代大型 MPV 马自达8怅然登场。
买车险平安好啊，品牌大，理赔快，电话买车险，省心又省钱。电话车险，选平安。
4008000000，平安电话车险。早在1915年，张裕就以4款产品代表中国葡萄酒参加了世博会。
Wir haben die Welt auf uns aufmerksam gemacht.
1931年，张裕酿出了中国人自己的干红。
Questa marca era Cepaina.
如今，张裕已在国内6大优质产区，拥有25万亩葡萄基地，提供新鲜、天然、成熟的酿酒葡萄。
Le bon vin commence par un bon raisin。
张裕拥有全球领先的酿造设备和工艺，以及国际一流的酿酒师团队。
Ils font un vin de classe mondiale。
融合全球资本和技术的张裕，已在国内布局6大专业化酒庄。还在法国波尔多、勃艮第、意大利、新西兰合作共建国际酒庄联盟。
Il nostro obiettivo è tutto il mondo.
À mon avis, Shangyu est l'entreprise familiale qui cherche l'excellence. Et je suis sûr que Shangyu a un avenir très prometteur.
进取无止境，未来更精彩。张裕。
Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Jishan with Charlotte and Julian. And today, well, something fun. The topic is a great topic. We're going to talk about these, say, theme restaurants.
I love theme restaurants. They're great.
Funny places. Yeah.
I haven't been to many in Beijing.
I've been to one, actually. The theme was about a prison. So it's all barred, you know, you're treated as prisoners inside.
Do you have your own cell?
Really?
Yes, something like that.
It's
all dark inside.
Was it good food or was it like prison food?
No, you know, tell her the fact. It was years ago and the restaurant is gone now, so you see. But it was at least something new, something fresh that can have at least a tryout.
Because I'm thinking, if you have your own cell, maybe you have to pay for your, you know, it's a room. It's a room.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, we're going to show you lots of pictures today, and the first one, nice one. The theme is about airplanes. You know, you're taking a flight, and flight attendants serving you food.
So let me think.
I hope it tastes better than what you get on airplanes.
We'll see.
Oh, how kitsch is that? How kitsch is that?
Yeah, I like the Falcon knives. Yeah. What is the one, the space shuttle, what is it?
Endeavour, or what's the name of it? There have been a few.
I don't know.
No, I mean, what is it for?
Aha.
Is it just decoration, or?
Let's see.
Or just a plate?
It's a fork and a spoon, and then maybe it's a plate.
No, actually, you open it and there's food in it.
That can happen, you know. Maybe dessert in there or fruit in there.
Leave it up to your imagination, I suppose.
Yeah, but it looks nice, and then you have your own set.
Let me think. This kind of restaurant, there's one thing that you have to pay great attention to is the appearance of the waitresses.
What do you mean?
Well, because, you know, people have this in mind that usually
flight attendants
are good looking, and they kind of, some people have fantasies about that, so, you know. I mean,
Julianne.
I'm just saying that no, it's a common fact that it's in everyday life also, and once you know,
when being a flight attendant, it's a sought after job, and you know when the airlines are not that a big business in China, you'll see lots of these young girls becoming
even
flight attendant.
That's true. It's a very sought after job here to be a flight attendant. It's full of a lot of honor and glory.
Yeah, to prove my point, because it's in everyday life. When Lily brought a flight attendant on the show, she was saying, backstage, she was saying, hey, I brought a flight attendant today. You'll see, is she good looking? And you know, it's a very common psychology in everyday life. You know, and men wanting to, you know, thinking that it's a great thing to find a girlfriend who's a flight attendant too. That's what I meant, you know.
Yeah, so. And that one, the picture was showing the restaurant in Taipei in Taiwan, and there is another one, similar theme, about airlines and planes, and this one in Nanjing in Jiangsu province. Remember, most of us don't have that experience of taking the first class, and they tend to be extremely expensive. So. What they're focusing on is, you know, first class service.
Now, see, I would go to a restaurant like this. I don't think I've been served on airplanes from little carts and little dishes enough that I don't want to do that. And when I'm not on an airplane, but this I could go to.
Yeah, when you say it's a first class service and first class food, yeah, it should be a nice place to go to.
You expect it to be actually a little bit better than what you get in first class, even if first class is good, but it's still not as good as a restaurant, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, where you're high flying in the air, you can't expect too much.
No, I guess not.
And if you come back, to this business, the airlines in China, there's a huge business and huge development in China. And in these years, if you go to any airports in big cities, you'll see. It's always crowded. It's always busy.
Yes, absolutely. And more people are choosing to fly over taking the train now.
That's true.
It might change.
So
if the train we talked about, that would go actually faster than a plane.
Oh, yeah, the one in the vacuum tunnel.
Oh, yes, 20,000 kilometers per hour.
I was actually with a designer, one of the really famous designers, a German designer a while ago, and he was saying that this is just theoretical. It's actually impossible.
Still would be very fast, though.
And here are some reflections about how busy the airline industry is, how the flights are busy these days. Sometimes you can't even book a ticket.
That's true.
Because it's always sold out, some busy lines.
You talk to people who know about that, I'm telling you.
I'm referring to all the statistics that we get. In 2010, from the first 8 months, the 3 major airlines in China, all of them, they had a major increase in the revenues.
Well, you know, that's not surprising, especially I noticed a lot of increased sort of traffic and much more difficulty to get airplane tickets to and from Shanghai because of the expo. So I think the expo has increased a lot of air travel and air travel.
Or maybe to Nanning because of the ASEAN exposition.
Yes.
Yeah, but in Shanghai, I find that it's still all right to book a plane ticket in Shanghai now, because China Eastern especially has sometimes a flight every 30 minutes.
Well, that's true.
It's unbelievable. So it's still okay. But one example of that is that the first class tickets in China used to be pretty cheap compared to some countries. It was just
set price.
50% more than the economy full price ticket. Because obviously a lot of people will not buy full price tickets if they can have discounted prices. But anyway, 50% more was not big. Considering that you have very few first class seats, and sometimes it's really much better service and conditions. So it started a few months ago. They started to up the prices, and now it's basically everywhere. It's 100% more.
That's because the demand for first class tickets
has gone up.
High.
Exactly, so many times.
They have gone up.
So many times now you can't.
And so a good alternative is to go to one of these restaurants.
But you need to fly to a different place.
First class service. You don't have to get on an airplane. It's wonderful.
Yeah, because you're in a different place. Food.
Then it's more about food. Then we'll have to have some kind of moving pictures on the wall. Oh, here you are, Moscow.
Yeah, they can. If you're not gonna fly, they can fly the restaurant over to a different place.
That's my kind of restaurant. That's my kind of flying.
But anyway, in the coming 20 years, China is gonna need 2,800 planes, and these are the big ones, each one holding more than 100 people.
Wow, that's major.
And when in 2009, when the global market, the world market, it's receding, the Chinese market, the air market, it's been increasing actually.
Wow.
Growing for 19.7%.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a few. You see that while there was that economical crisis, the after crisis, the airline industry was actually doing pretty well, and also the cinema industry was doing really well, has been only increasing really fast in China.
And luxury goods.
Exactly. So you see that after the crisis, actually people, it's not about spending, but people like to kind of take a step down and enjoy their lives because this is all we can do.
Right? But I think also to put that statistic in a little bit more perspective though, I think air travel in China hasn't reached its peak level of maturity yet, whereas say in the States or in many European countries, it's already basically hit its maturity level. Whereas in China, more airports are being built, you can fly to more places, you have more options when it comes to air travel. Whereas maybe even 10 years before you didn't, and you might have had to take a train, and you wouldn't have had an airplane option.
And it's all the development of the high-speed trains, they are actually happening, and it's also influencing the development of the airlines.
Right.
Sometimes the airlines, the flights have been canceled, the routes have been canceled because of the high-speed trains, and people would go to that instead of flying. The first theme was about airplanes. And next one, I mean, if first-class service is something that you want, I'm not quite sure about the next one.
Well,
Picture first.
I've seen one, I'm not sure if that one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's the one.
What is that?
It's a toilet.
Toilet themed. Oh, this is, The whole, it's unbelievable.
It's salad inside the toilet.
I saw a whole report about that on the Chinese TV sometime.
The city, but on the toilet.
And no, you haven't seen, do you have the menu?
We don't.
Okay, if I tell you
Have you been to one of that?
No, but I saw a very extended report about it, and the menu looks like a, whatever, I won't say it.
Piece of toilet paper?
No.
Oh.
No, something that,
even worse.
Something that comes out of your body.
Oh.
It's
wow.
Yeah. It's how the menu looks like.
Well, I have to say, I don't find toilets all that comfortable. I don't know that I'd want to go to this restaurant.
I give you two choices for your lunch.
Okay.
One is this, because they say that a lot of people sitting there actually don't eat that much. They watch other people. So the first choice is to eat in this restaurant. The second choice is to eat in an insect-eating restaurant. Which one do you prefer?
I think I'd probably pick the toilet.
Yeah.
I'll just go. I'll just leave. And there's one toilet restaurant in Hangzhou. There is one in Beijing. I don't really see why they're going to a place like that.
I think with something like this, well, I mean, really with a lot of theme restaurants, it's just novel. I mean, it's the novelty. I mean, you can call your friend or your parents and say, guess what? I had dinner or lunch sitting on a toilet in a toilet restaurant or something, you know?
So once is enough. Let's have a little tryout, and that'll be it.
Do you have, how's their business? Do you know?
We don't know. I mean, hopefully
it's good, but it's been around for a few years. That's what I know.
Yeah.
So it's good. In Beijing, if you can have a restaurant for at least 2 or 3 years, it means that there is business. It's not easy.
Yeah, but if we come back to the toilet culture, if you call it a culture,
Okay.
I don't know, because lots of Chinese people wouldn't go to a place like that to eat, because basically the impression that we have with lots of toilets, especially in the old town, in those hutongs, no good memories at all. I mean, in the traditional life, when they live in a hutong, in a courtyard, basically a whole line of these places.
It's a communal toilet.
Yeah, they share 1 or 2 toilets.
So I think the difference, though, is with hutong toilets is most of them aren't Western toilets. What they consider.
This is a picture showing, you know, the
Outside.
image of the traditional, the dirty and the bad ones.
Right, but most of these toilets, or practically all of these toilets, are squat toilets you would squat at and not sit on.
No.
Yeah, we call, in France, we call those Turkish toilets.
Turkish, okay. I'm not sure what the official name in the States for Turkish toilet would be.
And that's maybe why people don't have a happy impression about the toilets, especially in those old years.
Well, you know, I mean, at least in America, toilets, I mean, a bathroom or a toilet isn't thought of as a very clean place either.
No.
But we do have, you know, kind of like bathroom humor and stuff like that. So maybe this sort of theme toilet restaurant is more of, you know.
You know, just to respond to your opinion, your story about the toilets maybe back in the States, we're going to show you a few pictures about the exquisite toilets and even sometimes golden toilets after a short break. And welcome back to Crossover. We've been talking about toilets. And the restaurant designed in the toilet way. Anyway,
I love it.
But, you know, as I said, we didn't have that good impression about toilets, especially in those old-style hutong areas, you know. But we do have some fancy toilets designed by the modern designers, clean, exquisite. We have some pictures to show you. Well, this is a nice place.
Oh,
it's
a public bathroom, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
Can we see the inside? Wow, this is modern.
It's like, well, a 5-star, maybe a 5-star toilet.
5-star hotel,
nice.
yeah. That's very common in 5-star hotels.
It's like a tour, and he's taken a picture of himself inside that 5-star toilet.
Now, if the restaurant looked like that, I wouldn't mind going there.
Having a meal inside. And what about the next one? And we're going to talk about pure 100% golden toilet.
Golden toilet. Well, this is
not only golden in color, it is indeed gold.
Is it pure gold?
Whoa! You know, if you sat on that, you might squish it. Because
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't be
soft.
allowed to sit on that.
Oh, so it's not a real toilet.
It is a real functional toilet, but I guess they wouldn't
let you
use it. You know, it's basically it's in Hong Kong.
Just scratch a little bit of it and you bring it on your leg.
You have to pay a lot for sitting on that.
You wouldn't get security in there now.
It is one of the hot tourist attractions actually in Hong Kong.
To go look at the golden toilet?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
The toilet is used up 380 grams of gold and 6,200 of diamonds or pearls.
Oh my goodness.
The total investment is 38 million Hong Kong dollars.
All right, you know something?
And the number of tourists for each day, 3,000.
That's just a little too much.
But they're making their money back.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's a golden toilet with diamonds and pearls.
Hey, watch Crossover. We love golden toilets. This is the new topic for the day. Hey, you know, let me say that about. I don't know if I said that on the show before. There was that Jewish businessman in the U.S. that wrote something once on a blog. I don't know if it was for fun or anything. He was saying, "I'm so rich that we actually use champagne to flush the toilet in our house."
Oh no,
Not milk for shower or something. It's champagne for toilet.
I'm sure he was kind of kidding, but I'm sure some people have done that. So maybe that would fit in there.
I don't know.
And that would be good for the economy of the French district of Champagne.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous, I suppose.
At least the toilet is still there. 3,000 people one day, but the toilet is still there. The gold is still there. Champagne is gone.
And it hasn't been squashed.
Exactly.
They would try to drink from the toilet. It would be a little weirder.
All right, okay.
Let's just move on. Yeah. Another picture to show. And this possibly is the largest toilet, which can accommodate, say, 1,000 people at the time. It's, could be the largest toilet in the world.
A public bathroom?
A public one. And they can hold as many as 1,000 people at one time.
Is it just toilet, or is there actually, can you shower in it?
1,000 people. It is.
1,000.
I don't know. Why
Is it
don't
in
you just
China?
go? It is in China, in Chongqing. This is how it looks inside.
Wow, it's also, oh wow.
I'm just wondering why they would need a toilet as big as this.
Well, I'm wondering how practically you actually get 1,000 people in there at the same time.
Well, and wow.
If it is about a football match,
really
maybe yes.
impressed.
Okay, anyway, we've been talking about these toilets and we've talked enough.
So I was getting out of the topic. You brought it back. So sorry.
All right, but that was the huge picture.
Yeah, that was worth
the largest
seeing.
one.
I've never seen a public bathroom that large.
Next time I want to see the 1,000 people actually in there on the picture.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Okay, out of the topic. Out of.
Another theme restaurant. Well, Chairman Mao, all these slogans and his calligraphy and restaurants.
This is one theme for the Cultural Revolution.
Cultural Revolution. That's the revolution, the turmoil age of the 1960s and 70s. Officially started in 1966, ended in 1976.
Yeah.
That was those years of turmoil, and lots of people that suffered a lot in their life, in their career, and every aspect. But for all these people, that's the life they've lived. So these years have left a very big mark in their life.
So while a restaurant like this is a theme restaurant and it's kind of fun and everything and novel, it also, in more ways than, say, a toilet restaurant or an airplane restaurant, it holds a lot of meaning for people.
It does.
Yeah. It brings back, I mean, of course, we won't go back through that period of history. That's not the topic, but it's true that a lot of people have suffered a lot in those years, but you have to remember that there was a huge ideology behind all that.
Absolutely.
And that ideology, even if it led to a lot of mistakes, it kind of drove people through their life during all those years. They went through a lot. But a lot of people believed in that. And this is what is special about that. So even a lot of foreigners are fascinated by the phenomenon.
Oh, absolutely.
And they come, so many foreigners we've talked about on the show before. I think Leonardo DiCaprio, even in the last movie, was wearing some 为人民服务, serve the people bag on the bag, and it's very
that was
very
Cameron
fascinating.
Diaz.
Cameron Diaz?
Cameron Diaz.
Oh no, he had this 回礼
Yes, he had Chinese shoes on.
So anyway, it's kind of fashionable in the West to have this Chairman Mao items on you,
Yeah, I mean, this is not about the, basically, to my understanding, it's not about the ideologies, it's not about the sufferings, it's basically just part of their life. And whether you liked it or not, it's part of the mark in your heart and in your memories. And all these restaurants basically bring them back to their younger ages.
Yeah, well, to the sort of
the
early,
old times.
yeah, the early years of their lives and stuff.
To say it in a distorted way, it's also a cultural phenomenon,
Well, and these restaurants are all over China, not just in Beijing or there's one here, one there. They're all over the place.
Yeah, and that generation, and people maybe born in the 50s or 60s, these people are, to some extent, the backbone of the economic development of the country these days. They've been a lot, and their life can be a film, and even more complicated than a film.
Even if during the really, really tough periods, I mean, not in one family sometimes you had many children, a lot of them died early, but still you have quite a few children for each family there, and those are the ones who were in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, and who in the 80s kind of led the Chinese economy to some new heights and to a really new life.
Yeah.
Just help you understand better those years, and we're gonna show some posters.
Oh, let me translate this. Let me translate this.
好好学习，天天向上.
And in English, it's good study, day up.
And what does it mean?
This is Chinglish.
It means to study well and
every day,
every
make
day.
progress every day.
Try to reach higher levels.
Yeah, that's been like an everlasting slogan encouraging students to study hard.
Of course.
Good study, day up.
Is it now into the English vocabulary or just a Chinese one?
It might become part of it. It's like long time no see.
Something like long time no see, yeah?
Yeah, maybe.
Is it?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe to someone who understands Chinese culture.
Maybe, yeah.
And this is the cover of the textbook from those years. So you see.
So literature was all Mao.
Yuan this would be Chinese language class or literature class,
And his quotations.
Quotations, were there some of his poems in there too? Or was only
quotations and maybe, yeah, poems.
Letting the philosophy become a weapon in the hands of the people.
A sharp weapon.
A sharp weapon.
In the hands of the people.
Yeah, those are the posters from those years and more.
So this is all the communist slogans that we know in the West too, actually. This is the...
If you have noticed, Zhang Yimou, the director, he's the one, born in those years. And so many people like himself is either an established artist or a director or a tycoon, and business tycoon. These are the successful examples. But at the same time, another group, because either they didn't have their education at the time because of these movements or campaigns, and they didn't have the opportunity to go to the universities, even after the reform opening up. And maybe they didn't seize the chances at the time after reform. And they were the ones being laid off in the 1990s or early 2000. So these are the people who've been to all these different ages, different phases, and they've seen all the development of the whole country. And like these other generation, they are the generation making sacrifice for the development of the country.
Yeah.
And what they have been doing is, the average person, you want to say, poor person, but most people don't have that much money, and they have sacrificed everything after the one-child policy for the one child in the family.
My grandmother talks about, from when she was born until now, all the changes that she's witnessed in the United States and everything. But I can't even imagine what it must be like for people of, these generations in China to consider, just the vast change that's happened in the past
going through
60 years.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't realize all these changes. You just take it for granted. And the other day I was reading the book Under the Hawthorn Tree. It's now a movie directed by Zhang Yimou.
Yeah.
And that was a story happening in those years, in the 70s and 80s. And those were my years, and I could even remember, I've been through that part as well.
You could identify with it.
Exactly, and you make that connections, and sometimes you don't realize it. It's in the 21st century, it's a digital age, it's a globalization, but we just came from there.
Yep.
And the movie makes a point that, about the really pure aspect of life, of love at those times, and it's